слушаете VORW Radio International на частоте 9670 кГц, который вещает в России. Если у вас есть какие-либо вопросы, комментарии или отзывы о качестве трансляции, пожалуйста, пришлите имейл на адрес vorwinfo@gmail.com.
Listening in Radio International's voice. 7th of October 2022. This program is transmitted to you on the international shortwave frequency of 9670 kilohertz, that's 9.670 megahertz, in the 31-meter band with 100 kilowatts of power. Thank you for listening in. I'm finally back here at the microphone. Admittedly, I am based out of Florida in the United States, and I was impacted very severely by the hurricane, but thankfully power and internet have been restored, so I could finally start getting back to normal, at least as best I can. Now here's an interesting set of circumstances. Last week's program was pre-recorded. I recorded it before the hurricane hit. And while the reception of the program seems to be quite good, I got very few listener music requests. So that got me thinking, I would like to resultantly diverge from what I normally do just for this program, just for this week. And I would like to present a special program that I recorded about a week ago, where I shared in detail my thoughts and my experience in regards to Hurricane Ian and what, quite frankly, I would consider to be the worst storm I have ever experienced in my entire life. Now, what you're about to hear is going to be mostly talk. Next week's program is going to be, the standard blend of music and talk. But tonight's program, again, is mostly going to be talk for an extended period of time, but I hope you find it enjoyable. I understand that sometimes my lectures and discussions can be a bit monotonous, so I will balance it out periodically with the requests that did come in for the last program. Again, there weren't many, but I'll certainly balance out the talk with a little bit of music here and there. So, and this is my space. I'm here to stay. I'll just share the loose thoughts on my mind, and then that'll be that. Like I said, I dodged a bullet. Could have been so much worse. I'm all right. My house is all right. Property's all right. Family's all right. All the important stuff, it's all right. The community, the city, the state, it has taken a hard hit. But I guarantee, mark my words, Florida is going to bounce back from this. And it's going to bounce back, I think, sooner than people think. I really don't care what people say. I know that it's popular to hate Florida these days. And if I lose you as a listener for saying this, I mean, it is what it is. I stand by what I say. In my opinion, Florida is a strong state. And I think when it comes down to natural disasters, Florida has its act together, and they handle it as best they possibly can. The people here, in my opinion, are very strong-willed. And people are how they are, but those good folks that are still out there, they really shine through during times like this. And the flooding's going to be a concern, but it's going to be all right. But if you're, and you're in Tampa Bay, you got to evacuate. Maybe go south because it's going to hit to the north, so southwest Florida will be safe. Instead, what really happened? The storm stayed to the south, it stayed to the east, it avoided the wind shear, and it hit southwest Florida as pretty much a 5, as strong as it gets. And, yeah, the models, they definitely had their shortcomings. So like I said, the models definitely had their issues, but hopefully this will just be an experience that, you know, meteorologists will study and realize, all right, what didn't we take into account, and then, you know, improve the forecast and the system going forward. So, under the storm itself, I started thinking that this is going to really be something, because again, the forecast kept downplaying it a bit. But when it was nearing Cuba, western Cuba, and I saw this thing just exploding in intensity, and by the time it was making landfall in Cuba, I thought, this thing is looking really good. This is a major hurricane. And after it crossed Cuba, and then it was just exploding, I thought, wherever this hits, this is going to hit hard. And I was watching the satellite, and I remember it was going definitely northeast. They said it was going to be going due north, but I saw it going north, east to northeast. And that's when I realized, yeah, this thing is going to slam into southwest Florida. And I hope that they are ready, and that they're as ready as can be. So in the days preceding it, I was as ready as can be. I wasn't really stressed out. I'd say I kept my cool for the duration, and I accepted with the storm, it's out of my hands. It would be great to know how 9670 kilohertz is propagating. It'd be great to know you're out there listening, no matter where you're listening in from. Please write in if you're tuned in. VORWINFO@gmail.com. Again, send in an email. VORWINFO@gmail.com. The final segment of tonight's discussion is coming right up. So at this point, everything had kind of reached critical mass, so to speak. Just too much rain, too much water, no place for it to go. Lakes and rivers were overflowing, so that's when that sort of flooding, it happens everywhere, and it happens quickly. So by around 3 a.m., the rain was still pouring down, wind was still raging, and that's when I was hearing on the radio, they were saying, we're over here, we're seeing there's water feet high, right here in the central Florida area. And you're getting flash flooding, places are just turning into lakes and rivers, and brace yourselves, because everywhere is flooding right now. And these are areas even just a mile or two from me. So, had the AM radio on, and I kept checking the doors especially, but the way everything is, the water was flowing down into that lake, and because it was there were probably 10 feet of difference between where the lake is and me, everything was able to drain into there, thankfully. So the area was built up nicely, well constructed, but I kept checking to make sure. And by around 4 or 5 a.m., the flooding was only getting worse, but they said that the worst of it is beginning to pass by. Conditions will slowly improve, but I kept checking water levels, and I thought, all right, I think I'm going to be all right. The water has places to drain. It's still draining. There's still a ways to go. So I think I'll be all right. So I was listening to the AM radio, and they kept reporting on the flooding that the low-lying areas is just getting really crazy, but I thought, I think I'm going to be in the clear. and they don't utilize it, but here in Florida, I'm so thankful that they still do. They were promoting radio. They were saying before the storm, please have a portable radio. Make sure you have batteries in your radio. Make sure that it's ready, because you're going to need it. So I'm so glad that they still promoted it, because this is when it matters most. And I would give them an A+ for their coverage and their utilization of this radio, this means of communication. Usually I'm pessimistic with it, but this time
Nạp buku kuat ku ayah ini